Greetings everybody, George Taylor from Entracte Audio here in the Entracte Audio World Headquarters, aka my demo rooms. Just going to backtrack a little bit today and talk about something that I feel makes the Angela-Gilbert product really special. And that's the fact that we have a series of plug-and-play modules, and this is by no means all of them. This is just kind of a representation. There's tons of them. I'll get into that in a minute. But my reintroduction to this product was with this integrated amplifier down here. That's the i802 integrated amplifier. In terms of front control set, very basic, 3 inputs. This one has a preamplifier out if you want to connect a subwoofer. Remote volume control. But the most important thing about this amplifier for our purposes today is the fact that you can upgrade this in a number of ways. And you can upgrade it a bit, or you can upgrade it to be a little bit scary. Actually, more than a little bit scary. You can upgrade it to be quite something. Not that it isn't quite something the way it is, but most people at some point in their audio career like to take a piece of equipment and either make it better or replace it. Well, with this, you don't have to replace it ever. This integrated amplifier has both an input stage and an output stage, and the important part about that is that both of those audio stages inside have their own separate power supply. So what we have here is an SP Cap Pack 5. This is half a farad of capacitance inside this, or 500,000 microfarads. And what you do literally to upgrade this product is you plug it into a back socket, and so you've now added 500,000 microfarads to the input stage of this amplifier. That has a real effect. That has a real effect in terms of smoothing out vocals, in terms of improving imaging, detail retrieval, especially microdynamics, details within a single instrumental line, so that you can hear inflections of sound, like tonguing on a saxophone or a piano key hitting a little bit harder. You get what I like to call sort of the intellectual improvements when you upgrade the input stage of an integrated amplifier. This little fella here is an FCF module. This we would plug in to the output stage of the i802. Okay? And the FCF module tends to give you a little bit more presence, a little bit more kick, a little bit more macro dynamics. It tends to give the music a little bit more size and girth. And these are the changes that I feel kind of appeal, just to me anyway. This is my opinion. Okay, this is how my head processes this. These changes tend to appeal to the heart. Okay, so these changes tend to get my brain working a little bit more. These changes tend to get my foot tapping a little bit more. And of course, the combination of the two works really well together to give you just a very much better version of a very good amplifier to begin with. Right. Now the cool thing about this is that this is the i800. Okay, there's only one possible upgrade on the i800 for the moment, and that's the FCF. Okay, but you can put an FCF1, an FCF2, and FCF3. There's a number of different models of FCF, and there are other ways to improve it. I won't go into them because it gets really confusing, and I really just want to talk about the SP Cap Pack and the FCF modules. So easily, you can get a very not very entry level. I mean, this is a really good entry level integrated amplifier. It's got 50 watts aside, and it's got a wonderful sound signature. Throw even an FCF1 on this, and it becomes a very different beast. And you can put an FCF2 or an FCF3. And interestingly enough, one of the reasons why I would talk about putting larger modules on less expensive amplifiers is that I had a customer in here last week, and he had a CS integrated amplifier from about 15 years ago. And it was in for an inspection and cleaning, and he decided, well, it's there. Let's put jacks on it, right? I'm not going to do the upgrades right away, but we'll put the jacks on it, and then when I come pick it up, we'll listen to it and see what direction I might want to go in. Well, we started with the SP Cat Pack 5. We went and we added the FCF1 module, and that made a really nice improvement. I mean, it was very apparent that the amp was performing at a much higher level. Just for fun, we threw this beast on it. This is an SP Cat Pack 36. It has 3.6 farads of capacitance inside, or 3.6 million microfarads of capacitance inside. And we thought, okay, it will sound better, but there should be a law of diminishing returns here somewhere, right? So it'll sound better, but it's not going to sound 3.6 farads better. Well, it did. It absolutely 100% did. In fact, it made a real impression, to the point where I think this customer is considering putting one of these on an amplifier. And yes, this would have cost much more than the amplifier ever did in the first place, but it makes such a marked improvement that it's worth the investment. So, the other thing that's really cool about this guy, this FCF module here, is that this can be put on literally anything. And my journey into that continues over here. So I was first introduced to the FCF module, and at the time, it was about 2 or 3 years ago, a lot of people seemed to be really interested in vintage equipment. And this is a perfect companion to any one of these. Don't look at this. This is not a receiver. This is something else. But these other 7 here are late 1970s receivers, all Japanese. This is a Pioneer SP750. This is the one that I wanted to buy as a teenager but couldn't afford, so I went up with the SX450. But I always wanted the 750 because the 750 had 50 watts per channel, and that was bitchin' back in the day. That was the thing. You needed to have 50 watts, because if you didn't have 50 watts, who were you anyway? And this is a wonderful receiver. I got it, and you find these things on Kijiji and in different places. And sometimes somebody says, "Hey, I know someone that's selling this. Do you want it?" So I went a little overboard. I started finding them and buying them. I wound up with 7. 2 of them, I got 2 JVCs because I got a package deal on those. The main reason was, the reason I bought a number of them, and I think the first one I actually bought was this Techniques here, because it was locally for sale for a spectacular price. So I grabbed it. I had an FCF jack mounted on the back, and I thought, okay, well, I brought it home, plugged it in, listened to it, and relived the 70s for a bit. Then I plugged this thing in. And I found out that this little amplifier, which I think has about 30 watts aside, I'd have to check the specs to be sure, but that little amplifier, it's an SA300, 25 or 30 watts per channel, that turned into a little bit of a monster when you plugged the FCF in. It really made a big difference in terms of the presentation of the music and the girth and the energy. And I also found that it could drive speakers that it could not drive before. Specifically ATC speakers, which have a fairly low, what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, help me out. Efficiency rating, thank you. Generally speaking, ATC speakers are around 86 dB. This one liked to drive speakers that were about 89 or 90 dB until I put the FCF1 on, and then suddenly ATCs were not a problem to drive anymore, even a pair of SCM40s. Then I found this Pioneer, and it got me thinking that if people were coming in here looking at this product, they'd probably like to see it work on a couple of different receivers just to make sure it wasn't a one-trick pony. And everything I put them on, the Pioneer, the Techniques, the JVC, little Kenny down here, my 4070, this other Techniques that I found for also a great price. I was on the way to a gig up up in Georgetown and found something on the way, so bought it. You know, it works really, really well on every single one of them, to the point where there was a time when I didn't have a whole lot of equipment in here about 3 years ago during COVID, but I could do really effective demos on pretty expensive speakers with one of these receivers and this FCF module. My personal favorite at the moment is the Sony. I don't know why. It just seems to be. This one just seems to be the sound for me. This is the one I like the most. But I like them all, and this FCF makes each and every one of these sound a whole lot better. So if you're into vintage, you might want to consider this. The other thing is, you can put this on, you can put this technology, you can update pretty much anything. You can update musical fidelity, parasound, name, you know, heed, you know, name a brand, and we can find a way to hook one of these into it and make your amplifier sound a whole lot better. So moving on, this is where the fun starts, because now we get to the bigger stuff where you can go a little bit wild. Back here is the separate setup I have in here. We have, in no particular order, the D521 DAC. We have the C312 preamplifier. That's the XF3500 power line filter, but that doesn't involve the SP Cat Pack and FCF technology. However, almost forgot the A210 power amplifier. So the cool thing is that the DAC, the preamp, and the power amplifier all have jacks on them. The D520 DAC is SP Capacitor Pack compatible only, but you can put a lot of capacitance in. Now it comes with, this product comes with just over 2 farads, 2 full farads, or over 2 million microfarads of capacitance. You can add an SP Cat Pack 5 on it, and believe it or not, 500,000 extra farads does make a difference. Okay, generally speaking, I like to put an SP Cat Pack 36 on it because it's already got 2 farads inside, and that another 3 farads really does a lot to make it improve. This is an interesting piece of equipment because it has 2 sockets for SP capacitor packs, so I can, if I want to double down and add 7.2 farads to that preamplifier, I can do it, but that's not necessarily what you want to use the SP jack, the second SP capacitor pack jack for. I'll explain that right this second, because what you can do with this preamplifier is you can take an umbilical cord, run it from your second SP capacitor pack jack into the SP capacitor pack jack on this amplifier, and now you've got a power supply in here and a power supply in here that are linked together and work in synchronization. And that also makes a difference. That's one of the reasons why we kind of think that there are, in some ways, an integrated amplifier might be a better solution, musically speaking, but that's a conversation for another day. So you can add capacitance to the DAC, you can add capacitance to the preamp. You can add 2 kinds of capacitance, because what's really happening is if you're adding capacitance here and you're linking through here, then whatever capacitance you're adding here is getting added here as well. So it's a really versatile system, which to me is amazing. It's plug and play. It means literally you order a box, you get the box, you plug it in, and you're done. No dismantling, no assembly, nothing like that. It's just it's one and done. And you can, obviously, if you want to get those things, if you want to buy packs and then you decide, well, I'd like a bigger one, well, you can always trade in or sell off the other one, because somebody will always want it. So it's a really interesting way to add capacitance. It's an effective and efficient way to improve your system without trying to sell things here, there, and everywhere, or changing equipment. I mean, if you like something and you just want it to be better, make it better. It's easy, it's simple, and it works extremely well. So, that's enough of me talking for today. If you have more questions about this, you can always check out Angela-Gilbert.com, Angela-Gilbert.com. You can check out Entracteaudio.com, Entractaudio.com. You can also email me at entracteaudio@rogers.com, entractaudio@rogers.com. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Hope to talk to you soon.